Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia Pilot into the universe of Chinese. So today we're going to continue with the possibly action word that a horse would take. So we have galloping, of course, and then we have this ben, like running fast. And of course, this running human run too. So we use that a lot more on human running. Now today's 跃 it's also a human behavior, but definitely horses do that too. I think so. All right. Yes. Simplified and traditional, they look almost the same, except the right side is way more complicated than the current simplified version. Simplified version just have yao, have this almost like the ben character that has this forward bending person kind of hurdle jumping thing image, like big stride, try to walk across hurdles, kind of semi pausing through the air with your two legs. One is when you have some certain speed, I guess, and then you can take off ground a little bit, right? So I would imagine in speed running, you have both feet off ground and given more speed, then you're able to jump higher, right? So that's 跃. That's a simplified. It takes a part of this ben imagery and put it here to give you kind of a sense of what 跃 is about. This jump, then in ancient rendering versus the traditional Chinese share similar feathers. So this is a pair of wings. And then we have this bird, actually, we talked about big bird versus small bird. This is smaller bird feather. So according to scholars, this di, the right side, pronounced as di, that we don't use it not much anymore, is an ancient way of dance using feathers from bird feathers. So I guess big birds are probably harder to come by because I would imagine big bird are the ones are higher on the food chain, right? Big bird may catch small bird. So it's a rarer to come across big bird. To be able to equip, this is part of the costume for dance. And I also in museums of Pacific Islands also see a lot of heavily made cape that's made of massive amounts of bird feathers. They would probably plucked from smaller birds. And so we use small birds plus their feathers or their wings to create the image of this type of dance costume that um, involves wings and bird feathers, right? And I would imagine in ancient times, because humans we are ground bound, we cannot really take off too high into the air, and so I guess birds have been holding uh, this fascination for from humans because birds are the airborne ones and we cannot. And probably in ancient times, this dancers, a dance form with bird feathers, have a special meaning because that's the human's effort to be airborne and to get closer to the outer boundary, which is the same. In today's, we try to get to outer space in the same vein. So that's ancient times a solution. Have feathers attached to us to try to mimic birds' equipment to hopefully get us a little bit lighter and closer to what we perceive as the outer space out there. So this D paired with food symbol make the jump image. And I would imagine the intention of the language creators here is to have bird feathers to give you this airborne, this anti-gravity. Because if we talk about a gallop and talk about running, both are horizontal movement. They are still grounded. Versus with feather, that gives us this magic anti-gravity power, supposedly, right? So this paired with food symbol, then it's a logical deduction of this. We're talking about a vertical, talking about anti-gravity movement, which is jump. Okay, 鲤鱼跃龙门. This is such a common expression. Okay, in China, because of the population we have, right? The competition for anything, we have a word called 卷 curl. That's people are competing with a high intensity competition over there for almost anything. That you have to be very competitive to achieve to go anywhere. Simply because the base of population is there. So 鲤鱼跃龙门 give you the sense of your average person represented by the carp fish. You're trying to jump over 龙门, this dragon gate. So 龙 represent in Chinese the ruler, the heavenly, like a celestial being. Because Long in our mythology is this weather creator, right? They bring with them not fire but rain. So in Chinese, the dragon is different cultural connotation. It's more about agricultural sensitive weather condition. So this dragon symbolizes this ultimate, almost like a ruler of our life, because the rain or drought or flood, all that water control thing would kill would create a famine if not if you're in a bad year. So this dragon is almost like the ultimate nature's force representation. And then, whoever is the ruler of the country like to apply that imagery to themselves to say, I'm kind of up there together with the dragon power as well. So that Longmen, this dragon gate, symbolizes the ultimate high jump, that you're closer to this weather controller, which is all life controller role. And the carp, I mean, both of them probably have a little bit, because Li Yu is from water, right? It's related to water, and dragon also related to water. But they are totally, one is mythical, one is everyday fish. So it's the Chinese way to say it's a very small chance of success. It's almost like a lottery. If 鲤鱼跃龙门 almost give you the sense of it's close to zero chance that this carp fish are going to jump over that dragon gate and achieve something dragon scale instead of the fish scale. Okay, so 鲤鱼跃龙门，跃跃欲试. Okay, so when we have 鲤鱼跃龙门, this 跃, this jumping, this kind of anti-gravity, almost like a bootstrapping somehow, without, I mean, definitely without the feathers. And if they can achieve this anti-gravity thing, that's almost like anything is possible. So 跃, of course, adopt this meaning of you're going to almost like play out of your league. You want to jump. We use 跃, jump. Want to try something beyond your pay grade or your caliber. However, you want to, pin down the person. So 跃跃欲试 almost give you this person's enthusiasm or their internal energy. They are burning so so energetic, so excited and enthusiastic about something that they want to give it a try, even if the chances is low, and even if that person is probably play out of their league. Okay, so that's 跃跃欲试，大跃进. Okay, I have to use capitalized word because this is a set phrase. 大跃进 is a historical era from 1958 to 62, I believe that's the era when the government, is a political power, thought they know better about how to control the country's economic development. Political versus economic, totally different domains, right? You may control people's thoughts or behaviors. That's on a political level. You may have some leverage as the ruler of the country, but how can you control economy? which is beyond human control, right? And so this great leap forward was Mao's stupid policy that caused millions of lives. Well, I don't exactly know but it's a huge number because not my generation, but my parents' generation, definitely grandparents' generation, they lived through it. And we heard horror stories of how people starved to death because of this delusional national economic policy. So basically, it's unrealistic, setting up unrealistic and egoistic, totally up to one man's ego, and try to put up a story or boost people's energy to give up everything else they're doing to singularly want to mass produce in terms of volume, the quantity of steel. That's, I guess, one example. This wrong orientation or prioritization or this disruptive nature of the policy to cause the economy pause down, not like on pause and eventually break down. And the end up result is production of agriculture, food production was interrupted as everything else because everything else probably industrial production probably is not life critical as food production, right? So when we don't have enough food, then starvation and costing of human lives, that's the result. And that's, propaganda wise as 大跃进, great leap forward, but it's the opposite. It's a huge economic, social setback. I have uncles. I have many uncles. One of them, he grew up in exact that 3 years. That's the nutrition sensitive years of his, growth, personal development. He was visibly shorter than the other boys in the same family, same genes, just because those years of malnutrition, he fell short. And that's invisible to me. Like that's the evidence of great leap forward, what that does to his people, what it did. Okay. But I mean, the result could be way worse. And I heard horror stories like they would eat tree trunks or barks, or they would dig dirt to eat because food scarcity and people want to survive. That's Yue. So this leap also, I mean, the whole lineage of this anti-gravity, this borrowing the bird's feathers to do some very non-human, non-grounded action, either in this 鲤鱼跃龙门 or 跃跃欲试. This 大跃进 also give it a sense of this is delusional. You're trying to do anti-gravity thing, but end up crashing harder than if you just make grounded decisions. So that's my rant about really bad era in recent China's history. All right, so that's Yue jumping. So I mean, humans can jump. I jump pretty high, and showing this high jump sport as a perfect example. Without feathers, humans can still jump pretty high, kind of have a temporary anti-gravity motion in there. So that's Yue. Thank you for your time. See you another day.